Hello, hello, hello. You're welcome once again to another interesting episode of Inside Out. Today we have a topic which I never thought I would have to treat in this country. I don't know how to say it. It looks like, you know how they say end times are here? Or I really don't know what to call that. I decided to title this No, Don't Touch Me Here, or No, Don't Touch Me There, even though we're talking about child molestation. And if you have been in Nigeria in the past 1-2 years, there's hardly ever a week that passes that you don't see something online in the newspapers that's talking about a child being molested. I just thought, okay, let me just, I told my people, I said, just print out something for me to just give me an idea of what's going on. And just this morning, something came out, why I slept with my 11-year-old daughter. Before that, 2 weeks ago, there was something in the papers about some man in Akwa-Ibom who said that his daughter was enticing him, and she was 9. Then there's the 13-year-old girl who was raped to death. She was sent to a house to live with someone, and the uncle was always raping her. One time she said no, she didn't want to be raped. She didn't want to, he beat her up. The wife came, met her on the floor, beaten up. That one pounced on her again. Then she ran out to the street and she was gang raped by hoodlums who raped her to death. She was only 13. It didn't happen in another country, it happened in Nigeria. And I have a panel that I think is going to do absolute justice to this topic. I'm going to start my introductions from my left. Please help me welcome to the program Mrs. Alaba Fadairo. She's Director, Child Development, Lagos State Ministry for Women's Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Now you're welcome. Let me say thank you for always honoring our invitation. Always. So thank you very much for that. Dr. Princess Olufemi Kayode, she's the CEO of Media Concern Initiative. You're welcome once again to Inside Out. Now, for those people who are familiar with this program and all the stuff I do and all the people I work with, you will know who our next guest is. She's my namesake. Please help me welcome Dr. Agatha Chikara. She's the president of the Gold Crest Family Center. Let me say this, that the reason why all of this is happening here today has something to do with her. Let me welcome Pastor Nomthi Odukoya, the co-pastor, the ever-smiling, and she's still smiling. When you look at her, you just start to smile because she's like smiling. The co-pastor of the Fountain of Life Church, and I'm not going to do the other introduction until later. Pastor Nomthi, you're welcome to Inside Out. Thank you very much. Yeah, Princess. I think a good way to start the conversation will be from you, since this is something that you deal with daily. Can you share some of your experiences with us?
Sexual abuse of children is not anything that is new. Just like the Bible says, there's nothing new under the face of the earth. It's been with us for generations. What we're seeing in the past 2 decades, when I say 2 decades, about 20 years, there's been a kind of more reportage. You're seeing more reportage. You're seeing more people step out. You're seeing people who have it happened to, you know, for a long time, come out to say it happened to me. And one of the reasons for that, I think, is basically there's a lot of more awareness on the issue of sexual abuse. There's more people creating platforms that are allowing people to be able to step out to make more reports. And of course, even the media, in terms of seeking such stories, it's also because there is an awareness that this is also a human angle story and it's also news. And so people even find their way now to newspapers to actually go report directly to a newspaper that something happened to us and they're trying to, you know, sort of hide it, you know, yeah, cover it. And so, but that is because a lot is happening in terms of awareness. And you're finding that the population on Earth has also exploded. You're having more human beings. And so the more human beings you have, of course, the more stories you have of human behavior, behavioral problems. And give you an example of cases. There are quite too many. You just read quite a number.
Yes.
And when people say in Nigeria, it's not like in Nigeria, but yes, it's happening in Nigeria and it's happening globally.
Why would somebody think it is okay to rape a newborn baby, for instance?
Interesting enough, you actually answered that. But that, for me, it's surprising that it's filtering into Nigeria or West Africa. It's been in the East and South Africa a long time. As the epidemic of HIV crept in, that was one of the challenges of the high increase of children being molested in those regions. It was because, herbalists told men that you could actually have sex with a virgin. And of course, the age of virginity begins to reduce, of course, to babies. Because you can't tell if the 5-year-old is still a virgin. So a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, it's coming to babies. But that was something that happened in the East and Southern Africa.
What really is, what is the greatest reason you see for child molestation in this country?
It's good to talk with facts.
Yes.
But if you say from my experience.
From your experience.
Really, nothing.
They just feel
nothing.
like
Nothing. Because the people who do these things are highly intelligent people.
Really?
Highly intelligent
Really?
people. They are, if you watch Criminal Minds, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These people think, sit, concoct, plan how to get a child, how to, and like you said, there are people we know. So you're going to get a child and you want to make sure that the father and the mother don't know that you're going to touch their child. You may be an uncle, you may be an aunt, you may be a teacher, you may be a neighbor, you may be the father's friend or the mother's friend, but you are around them. And so you watch out and plan, you make a plan. And they have the highest order of self-control. Unlike the myths that they don't have self-control.
I'm surprised. That seems contradictory.
No, they do have, they do. If I want to have a child, a girl child, for example, I want to have this child for a long time because that is what child sexual abuse is. Sexual abuse is different from child rape.
Rape, yeah.
Sexual abuse is you're going to have this person for a long time.
It's
continuously for a long. So I want to have this child for a long time. Of course, I'm not going to damage the goods. And so when I'm grooming the child, because we have what we call the grooming stage, while I'm grooming the child,
wow,
to the point now I want to penetrate, when I'm going to introduce that, if the child says it hurts me, I have the self-control to maintain my erection and let it go down. And so because I don't want to hurt the child. So it's not so much because everybody thinks when this happens, oh, why didn't the child come and cry? Why did the child come and, talk about it, It's a process. It's not child rape. Child rape, of course, I just get in there, I do what I want to do. I don't care what happens, whether everything tears, the illustration or cuts, it doesn't matter. But with sexual abuse, it's a process. And so they have a high level of self-control till they are able to begin to, gradually they prepare the place till they're able to have full penetration. So it's not a one thing that I just go in. And so the child is groomed. And that is why children have an issue with being able to report this. Sometimes they care for the person. They don't like what is being done, but they care for it. I mean, my father is my father. I don't like what he's doing, but he's my father. So I don't like the times when he's like that, but I like him the other times. I don't like my uncle for what he's doing, but he's my uncle. He's the one who shows me affection. I don't like this auntie, but there. So there's that bit of confusion for children in being able to say, so why didn't you report it? And then sometimes they also do enjoy it because they are sexual beings. And so there's a conflict
in their
heads on what is going on.
Wow. It actually sounds very scary, before we even, because what I'm trying to do is get an overview. Let me talk to you, Dr. Agatha. You also have been in those circles where you have experienced things like that. Can you share with us some of the experiences you've had?
Yeah. So, experiences with children that have been abused or going through abuse, it's, like she said, it's a process. And because parents do not sexually educate their children from childhood, and sex is an urge that you enjoy. It was meant to be enjoyed. But the child does not know that this feeling they are arousing in me is against me. It's something that will damage my life forever. And so they just sort of be giving into it until the damage is done. Most parents are not at home for their children. So some abuses like physical abuse, the child is actually afraid because telling you we even get the child in a worse condition because the parents are not there. So they fear them more than their parents because they know they have more access to them. Their parents at times goes against them when they say such a thing. They say, it's you. So they will not take the case back to the person that caused them. You now start beating a child that is about 8 years, 7 years. That is the cause. So there are many reasons why. So the parents must, first of all, love their children enough to be their friends. And if you do that, teach them the right thing. When you teach them, they will ever come to you. And especially start teaching them from childhood. If not, they are not your friends.
When you say childhood, how old should a child be for you to start to think it's okay?
Even from 1 year. There's a child that's, I think the boy is between 3 and 4. One day, the mother came back from work, and they were together, and the mother was changing her dress. He told the mother, remove your bra. Remove your bra. So the mother said, what? He said, repeated it. So the mother removed her bra. The boy came up and started sucking the breast. And he said, where? He said, but this is what me and the auntie do at the house help in the house. That's what we do every day. So to him, it's normal, and it can be done with any woman. So teaching the children, because the age is so fast. A child of 2 can move, can control computer. A child of 3, 4 years can go into the system, and they find out these things. And you teach them according to their age. It's not everything. For a child that is between 1, 2, 3, 4, when you start teaching, you tell them nobody is allowed to touch your private part. Tell them which part of your body is your private part. I will tell you their vagina, their penis, their breast, and all that. Then you tell them, if nobody is supposed to play with them, nobody is supposed to finger them. So if they do, report it to me, report to your teacher. So as the age grows, you now
add more
information to the children. But it's very vital.
My name is Onyema Kinzago. I live in Lagos where things are getting better every day.
Our school has just been renovated
and they give us free notebooks too. Going to school is easier and safer for students like me because I can cross the highway using the footbridge, and I use the BRT bus, which is fast, convenient and free for students like me. I enjoy looking at the beautiful streets on my way to school. And the many street signs tell me where exactly I am. When I get to Basic 12, the government will pay the fees for my GCE and NECO examinations. I am happy. My mom and dad says all these good things are happening because they pay their taxes. I hope to pay my taxes when I grow up and start working. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Mrs. Fadayo, let me come to you. What has been your experience on the issue of child molestation?
It has been very shocking. Let me put it that way. Because I will tell you that it is child abuse is highly on increase, but the most prevalent one is the child sexual abuse, and especially incestuous abuse by fathers, stepfathers, uncles, siblings, people that are close to children. Wow. Those ones are on the increase. I want to tell you that even as at date, we have nothing less than 9 children that are in our custody, that are going to school through us, whose parents had been sleeping with them, particularly the fathers.
Wow.
There are 2 that had given birth to babies for their fathers. We took those children, they are in our motherless homes, and those children, we placed them back in school. They are in boarding school so that they could settle. You know, it's highly embarrassing, the rate at which they are. But one thing I realized that is most of these abusers, when you look at their antecedent, when they are young, they suffer the same thing. And because at those ages, there was no way of reporting. So it's like they live with it, and they believe that the only way they can do is to act it out themselves. So that is one of the reasons. And another thing is personality disorder. It affects them when they have a dysfunction personality. So that's why when we see most of them, I realize that it is not enough you send them to prison. At the end of the day, they come out and they still go back into the act.
So it's a vicious cycle that continues.
It is a vicious cycle. I want to tell you that we have lots of them. I just mentioned those ones. But they came up recently, just about 2 weeks ago. A 13-year-old girl delivered a baby for a 59-year-old man. Wow. The man is presently serving his jail time in Kirikiri. You know, most Africans and Nigerians, we believe that these are sacred parts. These are things we don't talk about. And, you know, most of the times, they don't know. And, you know, men, once they know you don't know, they want to play on it. I remember the story of a girl of about 7 years old, going to school, came home one day because she heard about it, asked her mom, "Mommy, where does baby comes from?" Said, "Shut up." On her way to school, she asked the driver, "Uncle, please, where does baby come from?" That one said, "Oh, you want to know? I will tell you, but promise me you are not going to tell mommy and dad." He said, "No, I won't tell them." At the end of the day, he started sleeping with the innocent girl. It took a long time before the parents could know about it. Mommy had said, we need to educate these children and let them know. We had series of them in the office. We had a newborn baby because the mother died at childbirth. The father, I think that one was a bit of psychological. The aunties of the baby took the baby girl to the man to just say hello to him. Just to have an emotional feeling of the child. But the next thing is that he brought out his penis and placed in the girl's mouth, in the baby's mouth, that, "Maybe you killed your mom. Yeah, you will start performing her role now." So unfortunately, those ones just entered and saw it. And, you know, they had to take the baby.
Because they said most of the time, the people who do this are people who are close or family. It's not usually outsiders. Have you found this to be true?
Yes. Most of the time, there are people that are close to the children, people that these children have confidence in, people they look up to. If a father could sleep with a child, if an uncle could do that.
There was a child, I think they called me into JWC Alakara. Okay. And there was this very pretty, she was about 14, I think. And I saw her all like huddled up in the corner. She was in a small corner there. And I was asking what the problem was. And they said to me that she lost both her parents. She was an only child. She lost both her parents in an accident. And so immediately she became an orphan. And you could tell when you look at her that she's really sheltered. And then her grandfather, as the only living relative, took her. Then he started to rape her. Jesus. And one night she just couldn't stand it and she ran into the street. And when she ran into the street, she was raped by area boys. And so she ended up in Alakara. Now, when I got to Alakara, one of the major problems they had was the fact that they couldn't put her, they didn't know, nobody was willing to take her. It was a few years back. My question is, when you find, because what I've found out is that a lot of the times, with all the cases we've had, Princess, is what happens to this child when they report?
When we get such cases, first thing is that we take her to the hospital to ensure her state of health, because we have to medically treat her. And such a child, if she knows the perpetrators of this offense, we get them. But the first thing we do is we provide her with custody.
So you provide custody, you
yes,
remove the child from the environment?
Yes, we do that.
Okay.
We do that.
Okay. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Who knows sabi better thing? Abi who no like better thing? All these fine things wey dey see so. Na money government dey take do am now. Abi, as in, it's like, you know, I mean, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do wetin? I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. Have you pay your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Well, welcome back. We're still talking child molestation. No, don't touch me there. That's what has come out from all of this. And before I went on the break, I was talking about the fact that there was someone I thought we should hear from. You know what I noticed while all of you were talking? She was nodding her head and agreeing. I was just looking from the corner of my eyes at her. And sometimes when it hasn't happened to you, you cannot understand. So I usually like it when someone who understands what all of you have mentioned here says it by herself and makes us understand the gravity of what is being explained. So Tonya, you're welcome. Okay, let me give you this. Okay, let me first of all ask you, I mean, like I said, when they were talking, half the time you were nodding your head and I even heard you making comments as they were talking, which means you basically knew what they were talking about. Now, so let me ask you, what was your experience, or what happened with you?
It was traumatic. I never knew a day would come where I'll be bold enough to talk about it. Incidentally, the first day I knew the name for this thing was called sexual abuse, I heard Princess talk on Fumi Yonda's program. That was the day I knew it had a name.
It was Princess you heard talk?
Yes.
So you see, you're doing good.
I broke down that day, I cried. That was when I knew it was called sexual abuse. Incest was what I went through because it was from my most trusted, my most loved uncle. I've always loved him all my life. I've always loved him all my life. So when it started, I couldn't tell anybody because yes, I was threatened and I loved him. He's always taking care of me when I was growing up. So coming to Lagos to stay with him, I didn't think twice. When I came to Lagos, I did not go back to see my parents because I wasn't allowed to go back because I was not allowed to talk about it. I saw my father last the day he was bringing me to Lagos, and the next time I would see him was when I was going to bury him. So when he died, a part of me died, and it became worse because I just couldn't talk. He's a policeman. He would show me a gun in the morning, and he would tell me, you know, you can't talk.
He will show you a gun?
Yes. Then, as at that time, 92, he would give me 1,000 naira. So I always had money. But no boy could talk to me. No boy could come near me. But I knew what he was doing was wrong, but I couldn't talk.
Why?
Because he says if I talk, he will kill me.
And you believed he would kill you?
Yes, I believed because I was seeing a gun.
How long did this go on for?
For 13 years.
Wow.
I couldn't talk to my mom because my parents were deeper life and sex was never mentioned in our house. Like never. I never heard that word in our house. Yes, I never heard it. So he would tell me that your father will not believe you, which was the truth. Because 22 years down the line, after I told my mom did not believe it.
She still didn't believe it?
She still didn't. I was married, I had a child. My mother did not believe it.
Wow.
Yes, my mother did not believe it. Because when like Princess said, they are very caring. When my father died, he was there for my mom. He didn't allow the village people maltreat her. He said she should go back home and mourn. He stood by us. So everybody loved him. He was a nice man. So nobody understood why I couldn't stand him.
Wow.
Yes.
Was he married?
He was married, he had children.
Did his wife know?
No, she never knew.
How is that possible?
Very possible. Because some women sleep like logs of wood. Yes. And you sleep throughout the night.
For 13 years?
Yes.
And the wife did not know?
Yes. She didn't know. She was there. She would sleep throughout the night. And he would come in the night. Once I just hear somebody touching my breast, I know he's coming. Yes. She didn't know.
Did it ever occur to you that you could tell her?
No. Because she will not believe it. The same way my mother will not believe it. But my rescue came one day. A new church came to our streets, and my friend said we should go to the church. So as we went to the church, they said, if you want to give your life to Christ, come out. I came out. After giving my life to Christ, they said the pastor needed to talk to us. We went to the pastor's office. After counseling us on how to grow in Christ, as we were stepping out of his office, he said, Tonya, there's something you need to tell me, that my friend should go out. I should sit. So I sat down. He said, you want to tell me something? I said, I don't want to tell you anything. I've never seen the man before. That was my first time of seeing him. And the next thing he said, you want to tell me your uncle is sexually abusing you? I don't know what to do. I've never seen him before. So I just went on my knees. I started crying. That this night, you are going to scream so that everybody will wake up. And when they wake up, you will just pretend like it's a bad dream. But you will know that you can shout now. So, of course, I shouted that night. Everybody woke up. He had 3 children. Then his sister-in-law was also staying with us. They came, and I said it was a bad dream. But that was the end of it. So the following morning, he just looked at me from my head to my toe. He eyed me and he left. Yes.
That was all it took, your being able to talk
shout,
out.
yes. Because I'm sure he was wondering, where did she get this boldness from? Yes. So from then, this pastor taught me how to wear tights to sleep. I started sleeping with my bra. Psychological effects, it's unquantifiable. It followed me into marriage. Yes, it followed me into marriage.
How were you even able to get married?
Okay, after that, I just wanted to get out of the house. I couldn't go back to my parents because my dad had died in the process. So I wanted to leave the house. So any man who comes, I just wanted to marry. My friends knew me. They said, Tonya, you have always wanted to marry. So my present husband, when he came, coincidentally, I met him in the office of the pastor who helped me. So
go on. No,
I met him in the office of the pastor who helped me. So he said the first thing the pastor told him was, are you sure you really want to marry Tonya? Because if you break her heart, I'll kill you. Because he was very protective. So my husband goes to Fountain of Life, and I go to Redeem. So I sent somebody to help me find out about this guy. So they said, he works with Pastor Taiwo. That means he has integrity. Immediately I heard that word, integrity. That time, I only know that when you're talking about Pastor Taiwo of the Fountain of Life Church, you talk about integrity. So I said, okay, I will marry the guy. So I didn't even think twice. Before telling them in my house, he just came to visit. That was introduction for me. I picked the date. I printed the card. It was when I printed the card, my family knew I was serious. Then he went to show me to Pastor Bimbo of blessed memory. Pastor Bimbo now gave me 100,000 naira. As I got home, I told them, I said, they have given us money for the wedding.
What would you say is the greatest damage that is done to someone through child molestation? What is the greatest damage that it did to you as a human being?
It made me lose my self-worth. I never thought I had any self-worth. I thank God that I married my friend. Yes, it made me lose self-worth. It damaged my head. When my father died, I'd gotten into school. In the second year, I had to stop because I will not remember anything. Because I tried to forget. I won't remember anything.
You tried to forget?
Yes.
Even after it had stopped?
Yes, the trauma. The trauma. Another thing it does is your body gets used to it after a certain time. You are expecting it. The day I got married, as we're going home, at the wedding, it didn't occur to me that things happen when you get married. So it was after the reception, when we were going home, it just occurred to me that, they might want to sleep with you this night. So as we got home, I just saw that brother had removed his suit. He was changing. I said, I need to talk to you, sir. Yes. I said, sir, I need to talk to you. He said, no more, sir. I'm now your husband. I said, sir, please, I need to talk to you, sir. So I said, please, sir, I need you to do me a favor. Because everything now came back that night. Because I was going to undress before a man. So everything came back. So I said, please, sir, I need you to do me a favor. Can we live like brother and sister? He said yes. So he did.
He said yes?
He said yes.
On your wedding night?
Yes.
He's a good man.
Yes. said yes, and he didn't touch me for 3 months. So he now spoke to a pastor. They called me. They spoke to me. When the pastor made fresh fish, I was like, they now called me. They spoke to me. They begged me. And I said, okay, you off the lights. Nobody see anybody. So the first night, I don't know what happened, but I know that I got pregnant sometime later. And when it was time to have children, the thing came back again. And when I was in labor, the doctor now came that they wanted to check. I didn't know what that meant. So I said, okay, check. He said then that I have to spread my legs. I said, what? No. So I now said, okay, if I spread my leg, what will you do? He said he will put his fingers to check. Never. So of course, the thing came back again. I ran out. I went to go and call my husband. Can you imagine? This doctor said I have to spread. He said, so my husband asked him. We had to call Dr. Kindule to ask her what that meant because I wasn't going to allow him to touch me. Then I said, okay, you must be there. So the 3 times I went to the labor room, he was there from the beginning to the end. The second time, another woman was in labor, and the doctor said, your husband cannot come in. I said, okay, that means I'm going to die with the baby. Because no, he must be there. I just couldn't stand alone, being naked with another man when he's not there. So those are one of the psychological effect that goes with it. Then depression. I slip into depression easily.
Till now?
Till now.
Wow. It's
very easy. I just need to think that God has not forgiven me.
Why do you think that it's your fault?
Yes, I think it's my fault. I wasn't wearing my clothes to sleep. You know,
That is how you processed it in your head.
Yes, that was my fault. I did something wrong that caused it. And God has not forgiven me because I know incest is a sin. So there is no time I pray, I will confess my sin. One day, he had to ask me that, why do you like confessing your sins? I said, maybe there are some of the sins he has not even forgiven me, I don't know. So if anything happens to me now, the first thing I think, oh, maybe God is angry with me. Oh, maybe I didn't confess the sin very well. But I'm getting better now.
With your children now, do you find yourself being paranoid? Are you too scared? You are looking back because somebody else can tell the story.
Yes, if there's a word more than paranoid, I have 2 girls and a boy, and right now there are boundaries. The boy doesn't go where the girl is dressing up. The girl doesn't go where the boy is dressing up. And the boy is just 7, and they know from the very onset. The first time I turned my back because the first time my daughter used the word vagina, she was like 3. And Auntie Moji was like, that was too big. I said, that is the name. I never colored the name. So they know from the very onset. They know the difference between a harmful hug and a harmless hug. My girls cannot sleep without a tight underneath. Yes. Yes, they cannot sleep without a tight. Because the first day that thing happened to me, I was sleeping and my legs were wide open. I don't sleep in the night. My brother used to live with me. It was a big issue. He's gotten his own house now. Because he won't sleep, I must wake up in the night.
You start to patrol your house and...
Yes, I'm killing mosquitoes, yes.
You have to get out of people.
I love my brother so much and I trust him, but I didn't trust him. You're too scared. You don't want that to happen to your children. You don't want them to go through that trauma you went. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. It's as bad as if we are driving now and somebody's misbehaving. I said, please, can you just break those 2 left legs? Clear him out of the road. Because
you're emotionless.
I don't have any emotions.
Do you think you can ever be totally healed?
I don't know.
You can. I can assure you that you can.
Yeah.
I'm also a survivor.
You happen to have. Please talk to her because it sounds...
If you saw me on Fumi Yoda, I actually shared my story. Yes. Actually, it's interesting. I was in Ghana recently and they were still asking my story. My story has not really been told. I've only, in different meetings, I just bring a little out. I experienced child sexual abuse, I experienced rape, I experienced gang rape. But I'm a survivor. And we'll talk. We'll definitely talk after this because that's a whole long talk. And you can be very well. Very well.
You don't have any one of the kind of fears she has anymore. Did you go through this phase?
I don't have those fears anymore. And now I can face my perpetrators face to face.
Have you ever
They are the
faced
ones that tremble before me now.
Have you ever talked to that uncle of yours about it since you left his house?
No, I have not. A week.
Is he still alive?
He's alive. None of his family people know. Only my family know because my mom knows I'm talking about it now. So I had to tell my mother. She didn't believe for a long time, but finally on the 20th of May 2014.
Just last year?
Yes. My mother finally believed me and asked for my forgiveness that she didn't know. God gave me the courage to forgive my mother after maybe like 15 years because my mother got married very early. She got married at 14. She had me at 16. So one day, God just asked me, what does a 16-year-old child know? So immediately I thought of, what does a 16-year-old child know to tell her own child? I just forgive my mom.
Thank God for that. Like I said, there'll be a lot of people who would listen to this and they would understand. And Princess, thank God you're here because she obviously still has a lot of
issues,
healing and issues to deal with. And I know that any one of them is competent enough for you to work with you. I know that God would heal you completely. I saw this book, No, Don't Touch Me There, that you wrote. And I went through it. And I'll tell you an experience I had. I was actually sharing it with you, which corroborates a lot of what has been said here. My animator, Gallant, where is he? I gave this book to him. I said, please do an animation of this book for me, the way it is. Like, because it was so easy to understand. And what the story I want to tell now is also to buttress the fact that we have certain notions and beliefs. And 2 weeks later, I went to see my animator, like, okay, let me see it. And I saw adults. And I'm looking at the book, and I'm looking at his screen. And I'm looking at the book, and I'm saying, Kalan, but these are adults here now. He said, Ma, I looked at this, these children are too small to be talking about privates. So he decided that I did not know what I was saying. He now decided that instead of the children, like you put here, he should make them older. Because he felt that it was inappropriate for children to say this. And you know, even though he did it innocently, it is just a reflection of how society looks at things. My question is, why did you? What led to this? I mean, you've heard all that have been said.
Yes, I did not set out to, I never thought in my life I would do such a thing. But one day, Sister Tonya called me, because she comes to the Fountain of Life Church. She called me, she had gone to a kitty state, to talk to a group of children. And about 50 of them wrote down questions asking her. Most of them were molested by their own fathers. Wow. And she said one was molested by her mom. I don't know how that happened.
By the mom?
Yes, by her own mom. So when she brought those notes, I could see the handwriting, the children's handwriting on the notes. It was heartbreaking. I thought to myself, we need to do something. But I didn't know what it was that we needed to do. So in our church, we have the women's meeting every third Saturday of the month. So I presented the matter to the women. We started talking about it. And I said, let's pray about this. What should we do? In fact, whilst I was saying that, in my mind, I was like, maybe we should mobilize women. You know, I come from South Africa. When something is going wrong in the society, we come together and we demonstrate. we go on strike. So I thought maybe we could do something like that to create an awareness, let the government know that we say no to sexual abuse. So I said, let's pray about it. I went home, I really took it seriously, I prayed about it, but I just heard clearly that I needed to write a book. And I must confess that I thought it was a bit silly, like, a book.
Have you ever written a book before?
I have written a book, but it's for adults. So this, when I thought about writing, when the idea of writing about this one came, I thought, maybe, I don't know, what do I do about this? I kept praying. I thought, okay, another idea will come to mind, not this one. But the same idea kept coming back. I knew it was God telling me to write a book. So I told my team, I started working on it. They started helping me put things together. And here we are.
One of the first things I noticed was the fact that there was very little, it was totally uncomplicated.
Yes.
It's so straight to the point. This is obviously something that you thought would do for little children.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea?
Yes, I thought most times, having heard the stories from different victims and survivors, I noticed that all of them had this happening to them without them knowing. It took them unawares. So I thought, well, it would be good if I write a book, that I write a book which creates an awareness, which tells them about their bodies and how to protect themselves and how to create boundaries. Like we have heard, Satonia's only chance of escape was screaming. But many other people go through it, they don't know what to do. So in the book, it tells them if such a thing should happen, they should scream. And it's a book to encourage parents to start talking to their children and the teachers to start talking to the children. Like Mami said, it depends on their age level. You would talk to them according to their age level. Once parents and teachers rally together to fight this, they would speak to their children and explain more than the book can cover. This is just to spark the conversation so they can explain more and help the children and know what to say. What grooming is, it doesn't matter if it's a person you trust. In fact, they should tell the children that it is a person you trust. It will not be a stranger, most likely, who would do this to you. So do not feel sorry for the person. Think about yourself, because it will hurt you for a long time. I've seen people cry because they say their childhood was stolen from them. It is sad for a child to lead an adult life. They never knew how it feels to be a child, and I enjoyed my childhood. So it made me sad. Each time I hear these stories, it makes me sad to think that some children have never had a chance to be children.
Wow. I saw, there was something I noticed, like, you know, this was the part where he had a problem with. It says here, the guy, the boys, he said, God gave us private parts that are different, which only we should see. Then the girl says, he said, my private part is here. And he points to that. And then the female says, God gave, I have two private parts, here and here. And she's touching, and no one should touch them apart from me. Now, what I found very, for me, that was moving about this was the fact that it would be an easy way for a parent who is uncomfortable talking about private with a child that young to be able to communicate. Now, my question is, since this book was launched, what has the reaction been?
It's been amazing. I first printed 2,000 copies because I really didn't think that most people would embrace it that much. But the copies were finished on the spot.
You didn't find any Nigerians saying, why did you write such a book for small children?
All of them, everybody was like, thank you, thank you. What? So I was also overwhelmed. Like, I didn't think I was doing something which could go such a long way. But seeing the response, right now I'm even getting, which I'm happy about, getting calls from schools. Say, please bring your books. We need to talk about this, please. So I'm hoping in the future, the state will help us to include this in the curriculum so that the teachers are given a time to talk about such matters.
How do you think that we can start to get parents to look at this differently?
You see, the very interesting thing, I've been in this work for, like I said, 15 years, apart from my personal experience. It's a holistic thing. It's not, educate children is fine. Yet, it is the responsibility of adults to protect them.
Definitely.
There are children that are still aware and they're still not saying anything. So it's good to educate children, but the society itself needs an awakening. An awakening because the police officer you want to go report to is also part of society, has the same mindset. The social worker you want to go meet has the same mindset. The father and mother you want to go meet have the same mindset. So it's much more of looking at a campaign that actually reaches out to the society itself, even to the leaders. Those who are supposed to make the laws don't understand. And so you have this huge problem of, you come to me and I will tell you this is the solution for this. But sometimes that is not actually the solution.
For me? Yes.
Because it's, from my experience, you meet this particular family, yes, there's a dynamic. It is sexual abuse, it is incest. But somebody else's incest story is not the same. It's not the same. And so it's so unique in the way it happens that we just need a massive awareness. There needs to be an awakening, both in the rural and urban. The same notions affect everybody. My father apologized after I spoke out to 150 million Nigerians that I was sexually molested. That's when it occurred to him that, okay, but I didn't know better. And I didn't know how to respond to it either. So majority of parents, it's not so much not being friends. It's basically a recycling of society. Their father was never their friend. So we keep repeating the same thing. And for her as a mother, for me as a mother, I've gone through my own being paranoid. I've gone through that. I have 5 girls, I have 3 boys. And I know what it is to raise 8 of them. And it's nobody can visit my home. We don't tolerate visitors in the sense that you don't come and stay in my home, you know. But for me, it's no longer fear. It's basically just putting boundaries. You just can't show up. No brother-in-law can just show up in my house. You know, there are no uncles and all of that because, you know, these are part of what creates problem. Okay, my last daughter is home now. She's the only one home. She's 15 and she's having issues with mathematics. Mommy, mathematics. I need a teacher. I'm like, your last 2 sisters went to university, there was no teacher. Why is there no teacher? My work will not, there's nobody to chaperone them. I can't allow a stranger, whether female or male, in the house alone with you. And so, okay, so we just have to go to, now I told myself.
That means you haven't really totally, I mean, you still have that consciousness?
No, no. It is basically safety measures.
Okay.
There's safety measures that every family needs to put in place. So that's why I say it's so dynamic. What will be a safety measure for my family is not what will be for mom. You understand? What you will put as your own personal safety plan is not the same with Mrs. Fadairo.
Yeah.
Because your own environment is unique to you, and the family, relationships that you move with is different. So you have to look into your home and then develop a family plan. If I live in a 1-room apartment, my family plan is going to be different from somebody who lives in 2 rooms or 3 rooms.
True.
Because I mean, okay, this 1 room is where we all stay, and so we want to put boundaries. How do we do that? So we have to develop how we put boundaries within our 1-room apartment. And so it's basically looking, the entire society needs to understand sexual abuse, the impact of sexual abuse, because that is actually, when you don't understand something, there's no way you're going to deal with it. There are quite a number of superstars who are coming up now and saying, I was molested. It's a welcome thing. But if you now put them on a billboard, you know, and they say, this happened to me, and this is what it did to me, but I'm happy, I'm better today. Or I'm still going through therapy. There's nothing wrong with saying you're still going through therapy, you know. But a face to it, that will say, oh, it can happen to her. Okay, you know, something, we need to put it in the face. In the face. On TV, on radio, you're hearing a jingle talking about it. So the more people hear, even the local people, so they hear, because it's happening everywhere.
Thank you. At initial, when we started, I felt bad about myself being a man. Based on what has been discussed, I was actually humbled. But going by what has been said here, I will say to every man outside there, be it Igbo, Hausa, white, black, stay clear from that young child. Self-control is important. That's what makes you a man. Control your emotion. Thank you.
Hello. I just want to say that we need to address the male child also, because everybody has talked about the female child. The male children also suffer abuse. So I'd like, for us to let them know that they can also call these lines and they shouldn't suffer in silence.
Okay. One of the things that he said that has just been said is that we didn't address the fact that it happens to men as well. So maybe you want to quick, men, it happens to young boys as well.
Yes.
I remember there was a photograph on the internet where there was a 3-year-old boy and the house help was actually making love to him, and it was recorded. It was on the internet. And I was totally appalled by the whole thing. I would like to think that, yeah, it happens to do you get a lot of cases of, yes?
Statistics says 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 7 boys.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so it happens to boys.
So it happens to boys, yes.
And that's why the book, there's a day in Adam to show that it's a boy and a girl.
Okay, that's true. Okay, that's true. A day and, okay, a day and Adam.
Yes.
One of the things I'll say, Pastor Namti, thank you for this book, because this would help a lot of people who are uncomfortable start the conversation. Yes. And I think it's important. For me, this entire topic started because of this book. Like, I was like, finally, somebody is talking. There is a need to speak up. And I'd like to say thank you to you. Before I round up, can you give us phone numbers, helplines that people can call? Let me start with Lagos State.
080
yes
23 22 35 39 3539
0802 333 1036.
Goldcrest, I know that you already have a lot of people you work with.
Yes.
And you can be reached on
0803 320 3681
okay.
or 090 9933 6822.
Pastor Namti, 2 things. If people want to get this book, schools, organizations, and all of that, how do they reach you?
Oh, we have the number.
Please give us the number.
081 82 84 2440.
Does that also stand as a helpline?
Yes, it does. And another number is 090 286 83605.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you. I know that a lot of lives will be saved by this, and I'm hoping and praying. Most of all, please call. They are going to take you out of the environment. Everybody has promised that no child will be left in the environment in which they are being abused, because that is the biggest fear. Even for domestic violence, we've had cases where the woman goes to the police and they say, what do you do when your husband take beat you? Go back and settle. Are you not an African woman? And so there's usually a lot of fear of being rejected. And that is what we need to overcome right now. Yes.
Just before we go,
yes.
I just want to chip in this.
Yes.
That in Lagos State, we have a domestic violence response team.
Okay.
It's cut across, even NGOs are involved, and we have a network. Recently, towards the end of last year, we launched...
Do you work with NGOs?
We work with NGOs.
Okay.
They are registered. We work with Malma.
You work with both of them already?
Yes,
okay.
Both of them are people.
Thank you for this new campaign and awareness that we're going to start to create from this. And by God's grace, what is going to happen as a result of this will be unprecedented. Thank you very much to all of you who dedicate your time and your energy into other people's problems. It is not something that we do a lot of in this country, and it's something that we need to start to do. We need to start to mind other people's businesses. A lot of lives would have been saved if we were minding certain businesses for other people who can't mind their business for themselves. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you very much. We will advertise the numbers on air. And until next week, when we come again talking about something else equally as educative, bye-bye and see you next week.